Man, oh man, oh man. Guys, I have to hold the blasted portable mic like this because the clip broke in a previous video, like way back when, I'd say 3 weeks ago. So I have to hold it like this, guys. Anyway, Sombra del Piso back after a very, very long hiatus. Man, it's been a while, about like 2 weeks or so since I've uploaded last. And the reasons, I'm going to explain everything. We're going to get down to a lot of it here. Obviously, I'll elaborate a little bit more on my Patreon. If you guys haven't joined the Patreon, join that. I write there a lot. I upload a lot of interviews there. I upload a lot of other videos there where I talk about material that I can't really speak about on YouTube, or I get sort of flagged if I speak about it on YouTube. So check that out. The link is going to be in the description below. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into today's topic. Of course, it is the 1st of July, and so we must do Pisos, perceptions de Piso. It's the punches are not even coming out because June was peak. We're going to talk about all of that right now, guys. Let's get into it. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Let's do it. I think you guys have noticed that there's a different background here. And the reason is because, first of all, let's go in phases. There's just so many things that has happened in June. It was such a month of metamorphosis for me, and I'm not even done. I'm not even through it. I'm in the midst of it all. The fog, it's that. But anyway, let's just keep things in structure because this is how life works. You can't just be chaotic and not speak about things in a specific order. So in these Pisos perceptions, for the people that are new to them, I basically give an update of my life, of what happened in the previous month, and the plans for the channel and for myself for this month, the upcoming month. And we basically talk about semen retention, interpersonal relationships, intimate relationships, or the lack thereof of the aforementioned both. Mental health, how's that going? Plans for the channel, and just like my take on a lot of the other things that are going on in my life. So thank you for joining, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's talk about, of course, this is not a Pisos perception unless we talk about employment. Yo, I'm always laughing at this part because it's funny, because things change so drastically at the drop of a dime, and us human beings are only left to pick up the pieces of what happens afterwards. It's absolutely insane. So let's get into employment. Thankfully, right, out of the many things that was lost to me last month, this wasn't amongst them, right? I'm still employed. I work at this Georgian restaurant, not, oh, Atlanta, Georgia, how's that? No, this is like Georgian at, Kinkali, Rogorakha, Daskanardi, like chill out, at Maglaba, Kachapuri, all that. So I've been working there for the past 3 months, going on 4 months. I've been doing very well. Of course, I've been on semen retention for a very, very long time. And so the confusion that is the Georgian language is, right? Because they have the written language, and then, the words that they speak, which, it's very, very confusing. To me, of course, because I'm an outsider. I'm not insulting the language at all. I have memorized a lot about their wines. I'm actually the top wine seller in the blasted restaurant, by the way, because I've quickly understood the wine varietals, even though they're very, very confusing, history thereof, taste profiles, even though I haven't been drinking for the past 13 years. All of that. So, and I don't know. It's just this stuff comes easy to me. And of course, you guys know when you're on semen retention, that stuff definitely does come easy. But I don't know. Maybe it's due to a lot of other things on my end too. Like maybe there's just a lot. Maybe I just have that innate talent. Who knows? But I've been doing well at the restaurant. Employment has been good. I'm also trying to do something else as well, and I'm going to give updates when that comes about, right? So yeah, that's been interesting. Employment's been good. I've been having a lot of interesting experiences in this restaurant, just because it's a Georgian restaurant in New York. You're not going to have the Americans come in there in abundance, en masse. I've met a lot of interesting people. Like I met this Mexican guy that lives, I think, or just travels around the world all the time. I think right now he's in Latvia for a wine festival, or maybe he did that last month. I forget, because I met him a little while ago, around the time when I was beginning my tenure working there. But yeah, it's a super interesting spot. The people are cool. They're all, the employees, they're all doing their own thing. I think I'm the only American that works there. Everyone else from Mexico, Ghana, Georgia, and yeah, Georgia, mostly Georgian. So it's kind of interesting, but employment is going well, and we're on track to getting more employment, right? Let's talk about semen retention, right? Let's talk about semen retention right now, right? So semen retention, I've been doing very, very well. To be honest, I've lost track of how long I've been retaining. I have a lot of views, a lot of changed views on semen retention. Of course, that is not reducing in any way how powerful and how much we should hallow the practice of being on semen retention. But by believing that that is an end all, that is the panacea, the cure all to a lot of the issues that we have, like our personal issues or just issues in life. And if we think that this is going to somehow get us through all of that scot-free, all we have to do is just show up, I think that we're going to have another thing coming. In June, something cataclysmic happened with me. If you guys have been on the most recent live streams, I'm sure you guys heard what that was. I learned a lot from that experience, a lot. And that isn't to say that women are inherently bad, because if we continue with this rhetoric, we are constantly shifting maybe part of the issues and the problems that we have externally, and we're not looking within and trying to see how we play into all of this, right? It is not just an external issue. It has to do a lot of the times with something that's going on within ourselves that we sort of not necessarily need to fix, but need to observe and regulate and moderate at some times, right? That could be a specific experience, right? Oh, maybe sober, this is all you. But no, I'm telling you, there's a lot of misinformation going around about how powerful the practice of semen retention is. Granted, listen, ironically, I'm still on the practice, and I believe staunchly in remaining on semen retention, especially in this current period, because I think any other alternative is just not going to be it. So yeah, ironically, I am still on the practice of semen retention strongly and firmly, because I believe any alternative is just a complete waste and a complete mistake, right? At least currently in this point of time. Alternatives that I'm talking about especially is, obviously self-pleasure. I've been at a point for a while where it's just, if I don't even feel the inclination to look at adult film content. And this has been like this for a year and change now. I just don't feel the want, even in the midst of the turmoil I faced in this last month, this emotional turmoil, lack of support, and just this solo trip trying to explore what the heck happened. In the midst of all that, even with the exacerbated and increased emotional highs and lows that one feels retaining their seed the correct way, by the way, which is no edging, nothing. I did not feel a want to look at adult film content. I did not feel a want to release to that. Obviously, women are attractive, but it's just, even hookups, that's just not an interesting thing for me either. It hasn't been. I don't know, I think, at least this is for me. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of truth to this, at least what I've observed, especially since I've done the year of semen retention. I've done the long bouts retaining, and I just learned a lot about myself, my personality, and what retaining for long periods of time really means. Hooking up just doesn't do anything. You're releasing, And it's just it's a lot of the time it's with someone that you don't really connect with. You may have chemistry with, physical chemistry. She jokes, you laugh, you make a retort, she laughs. But it's like you don't really understand each other's souls. You don't really understand each other's proclivities towards certain behaviors and ideas. You guys don't really mesh together, really, you know? And I think that, at least for me, I'm not searching for it right now. But if that were to present itself, where I get to know a woman and we get to that level where we understand each other on a very, very deep level, I don't know, I just feel inclined to give her things. Not like presents, but just give her my energy, give her my presence, right? And then she does that naturally to me, and I just feel completely light, and I feel supported. I feel great. If that happens, I will jump on it completely. And I'm not saying I'm going to discard the semen retention journey. Of course, I'm still going to have my bouts of semen retention in between the times that we are intimate. But this is just where I am right now. I think a lot of things have changed recently. And to be honest, I believe this to some degree, but it's just, we get very, very lost to, especially when we don't have a lot of personal experiences on our own. And some of us that are more malleable than others, we do have our experiences, but we blame what went wrong on the experiences on an external factor, as opposed to understanding how we contributed to that situation. And I'm not saying that necessarily it's always our fault, right? We need to have some modicum of self-blame. But I'm saying that we need to have a self-analysis. A relationship between two people that went awry is usually because of two factors, right? The two variables that are involved in the relationship. So that's my point of view. But anyway, just to reel it back to semen retention, I've been on it. I've been solid. It's been very, very interesting. It's manifested. Sombra's new apartment. That's right. I am in a new place in Nueva York. I have moved out of my old place, and I'm in a completely different environment, somewhere in Brooklyn, in a place that is only mine. I have no roommates. The only roommate really is this painting right here, but it's very low maintenance. This little inanimate, non-sentient object. So I'm pretty much good, right? So, and how semen retention lent to that was because I was going through some stuff. I'm telling you. Because I got this like almost a month ago, and I set it up within a month and moved in quite instantly. I was trying to deal with a lot of different emotions, but I needed to move forward with life, because you can't allow these things to be stagnant. Of course, we all vary emotionally, right? I think sometimes we need to have that period to process emotionally cataclysmic events and mentally cataclysmic things, right? But for me, I realized that would be a grave weakness on my end, and me mourning and being inactive would not solve anything. In fact, it would be a hindrance to what needed to be done. Perhaps that was some spark of my soul conditioning me to believe that, or perhaps it was the semen retention practice giving me that urge of activity, or maybe a combination of both. I like to think that your soul really can't be touched by the practices that you do here. That's a topic for another video. You learn a lot when your emotions and soul is ripped in two. I'm telling you, you really do. Anyway, semen retention. That's that. We are going strong. I'm feeling good. I just came from the gym earlier today, leg day. 3 sets, 315, 8 to 10 reps of barbell squats. Come on, guys. Then we just started, by the way. We were just starting that. That's how we started our exercise circuit. Something light, easy. And this brings nothing, really. It brings no catharsis to the pain and process. Interesting stuff. Anyway, that's semen retention. Let's talk about relationships, right? Let's talk about relationships. Let's talk about interpersonal. We have a couple of interpersonal relationships. Obviously, they were put on the back end. recently because I had a lot of these things going on. Thank goodness for my neighbor from my old place that helped me move a lot of the stuff from there to this new apartment. That dude is amazing, especially this couch, because this couch was heavy as hell. It's a sofa bed. I got it for a very, very good price. It's from West Elm, so these things run like close to $1,000. I paid $50 for it. And he helped me bring it into the apartment. So thank you for that. And that's indicative of a strong interpersonal relationship network that I do have. So I'm grateful for that. Intimate relationships. Succinctly put, I was intimately involved with someone for the past 8 months, and it was one of the most tumultuous and destructive and enlightening things that I've ever been in. She's taught me a lot about myself, really, about my reflexive behaviors, whilst learning about her completely and understanding the ultimate supremacy, the tyrannical control, the tyrannical maternal-like behavior of the nervous system. It is conditioned very, very strongly. It gets conditioned very, very powerfully. And when you, if you don't really address or challenge a lot of the reflexive nature of the nervous system, then you are doomed to repeating behaviors up into your adulthood, unchecked, which are not necessarily conducive to a very, very strong situation. And I'm not necessarily saying that happened with me, but I'm saying that the nervous system is an incredibly powerful system that needs to be challenged all the time. It is a force that is outside of your control for the most part. And it will, if you don't, rein it in a little bit, it's going to just act sentiently, and it's really, really bad. The nervous system is used to certain types of behaviors. This is responsible, by the way, this is the cause, the reason, the seed behind your constant relapsing. If we have issues with semen retention, and we have issues constantly trying to fight against ourselves in order to stop releasing seed, it is not it could be a combination of the external adversary as referenced in the Bible, Satan, and by the way, not some literal devil. It's the influences through social media, through advertisements, through just the way people express themselves physically, due to conditioning by the aforementioned social media and the internet, that will lead you or condition you indirectly into release, right? These behaviors are processed through the nervous system. That is the true adversary. That is the true enemy. That is also your closest friend. And so you need to control this being with your very, very being, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of strategies for that. And that's basically that was part of my battle with, separating from this intimate relationship, because I was very, very used to certain types of behaviors, certain types of contact, certain types of intimate emotions. And when that is abruptly separated with no chance of return, you are not only battling, right, as in my case, with your nervous system. You're battling against the practice of semen retention. You're battling against all your past memories, your past thoughts, your inclinations towards certain behaviors when you are in a nebulous state, a state where the future is completely unwritten and there's no bracing for it. There's no understanding of it. And so, that inclination to try to make yourself feel that you are, in control of yourself, when in reality you are just a speck in the middle of this proverbial desert, right? Of reality, of the timeline. I was fighting against all that in June. Dead serious. And so I came out unscathed. What does that even mean? I think unscathed is like not being jaded or made cynical or made bitter because of the experiences, or lambasting an entire group of individuals because of an experience, a secular experience, by the way, that happened to me. Because you have to realize that life is the way it is, and people have myriads of personalities, even though a lot of it is just sort of copy and paste and whatnot. People are not all the same, and you can't lump them all into the same categories, because that's not fair. It's not fair. You're judging them without a trial. No one deserves to be judged without a trial. That's not the true administration of good justice, real justice. Anyway, you got a little sidetracked there. Sourdough Piso gets too deep sometimes, and this is what happens. I guess that's proof that I didn't leave this situation unscathed, because I sort of now see very, very deeply. I think I've always been like this, but now it's just even more subterranean with my point of view and analyses, right? So that's intimate relationships. Just to sum it up, right? Give you a summation. Intimacy is not happening. And there is no foreseeable future where that will happen, which is good, which is completely fine, because now it's time to return to the old Sombra del Piso. I haven't been uploading for a while, and now it's time to get back to what I was doing, or who I was, or who I need to be, really, because this is just a completely different situation I'm in. Anyway, let's get to mental health, right? Let's talk about mental health. So I sort of talked about it briefly in my very, very huge digress of the intimate relationship, but it all ties in. My mental health is better now. 3 weeks ago, if the 1st of July occurred then, you'd be seeing a completely different Sombra, a destroyed, scattered, shattered, fragmented soul, man, boy of a man. That's what you'd have seen. Time is the ultimate eroder. Time is the ultimate teacher. And if you allow yourself to flow with the objective reality, the direction, the trajectory thereof, you will inevitably fall into a state of acceptance instead of being in a perpetual paradigm of denial, which a lot of people tend to be in. When situations like this happen, like where heartbreak and just an absolutely horrible emotional situation, when that happens to certain people, they don't take the time to process usually what's going on within them. They want to evade those issues. They want to avoid the pain. And so they go to drugs, they go to women, they go to fine activities in order to shield themselves from the pain instead of actually feeling it and going through those emotions, because it's seen as weak or seen as less than. Of course, I mean, previously in this video I did talk about how I tackled the situation moving forward regardless of what I felt, but I don't think my behavior should be mimicked or idolized at all. I think this is just my specific situation. This is just how I felt. But mental health, I am good. Mentally, I am good. Don't get me wrong. I was during June, man. I'm telling you, earlier there were times. I was saying this in the live stream the other day. I was looking at the crosswalk, waiting for it to turn white so I can cross, and I just get completely lost in thought. And I'm thinking about the situation that happened, that passed, what I could have done. I get into a perpetual loop of self-blame. There's smells, and I'm just transported to a completely different place. And then I'm standing in the corner of the street. I've never done that before. This is how insane life could really, I'm telling you, life could really destroy souls. I'm telling you. You understand really what Lucifer was on about. I do. After the last couple weeks, man, I'm telling you, I definitely understand this guy. I don't condone it, because that's relenting to weakness and going against what is objectively good. This guy, I can understand. Why is it that human beings have to be put in a system that they didn't ask to be in, right? And suffer endlessly, right? In this system, being in a basis state, right? And that suffering can come physical suffering, mental suffering, existential suffering, right? This ties into psychological suffering, emotional suffering. They do all of this. And those types of sufferings are so powerful, of course, the mental one and the emotional one, that it has the opportunity, and it does mostly, to absolutely change the trajectory of the personality growth of an individual. For better or for worse, and Lucifer his argument was a lot of these personalities are falling to the side of the worst. A lot of people, when they go through heartbreak or they go through some psychological break or some existential crisis, they do not return to that positive person. They don't become more positive. They don't become greater. Mostly, the majority of them don't. The majority of them become angry and bittered and closed off and jaded. That is a huge risk, and that perpetuates evil circumstances in the world, which cause good souls to be at risk of being tainted by these examples, these experiences, and fall into that perpetual samsara. Like that's insane. I'm not offering, by the way, the alternative, sorry, which is no one has bad experiences. No one has the opportunity to grow and evolve. No one has the chance to triumph over their past selves and become a better person. I'm not advocating against that. But it's tough, man. After these last couple weeks, I really understood everything. I understood so much to a level that I never even thought was possible. And I saw I was in the abyss and I could have remained there. But like I said, there's an inner sombra that brought me into that situation in the first place for the separation and the secession. And so obviously I wasn't going to be abandoned in the abyss, right? I don't know. So anyway, mental health is good. Mental health is good. It's going very well. And I think by August, it's going to be even better. Who knows, right? I'm developing a lot of different routines here in this place, this new apartment. It's kind of interesting waking up. My bed is over there. I'm just looking over there. It's kind of interesting just waking up in the middle, in the morning and early in the morning, and there's just not darkness, but it's just emptiness. There's just no one here at all. No promise of anything or anyone. It's just I'm waking up with myself, and it's very, very interesting. And so I'm getting used to that. It's a slow adaptation, but again, that inner sombra is really carrying me for sure. Don't know what material he's made out of. I don't know what realm he comes from. But he's carrying me through a lot. Dead serious. I'm following the rules on my end, keeping myself away from the unholy and the horrible, the negative, just so I could allow that channel for that being to work through me. So that's really it. But I haven't been overcome by loneliness or anything. It's just a very, very interesting situation. This is my place anyway. I'm very, very happy. So we talked about mental health, right? Let's get back into it. I went this way, and then now I'm coming back up in terms of energy levels. What else, man? We spoke about plans for the channel. Let's talk about plans for the channel. I know we haven't spoken in a very, very long time. Of course, the reasons for that, visit the previous segments of this Pisos Perceptions. But we're back. We got a TV here. We have a very, very powerful workspace that I've created and crafted with my own two hands. And so we are ready to go for sure. Live streams. I've done 2 live streams this week already. So that's great. We're going to do some more. I know it's the summer over here. I'm going to try to do some more outside live streams. I have a fire escape that serves as my, the New York balcony, for the people that can't really afford, those 1-bedroom balcony apartments, which is me. So yeah. Speaking about this apartment, guys, I'm telling you, the situation with this place is nuts. I went around Brooklyn, walking around, right, looking for an apartment. I wanted to be close to Eastern Europeans just because, I don't know, there's just some connection I feel. And I'm going to tell you, a little story about what happened with the first place that I went to. So I went to some place deep in Sheepshead Bay. If you guys don't know, it's a place in Brooklyn. It's a neighborhood where there's a lot of Russians, a lot of Ukrainians, Georgians, Uzbeks, a lot of people from Eastern Europe, really. Not a lot of Albanians, though. Albania is still Eastern Europe. But, like, there's not a lot of them over there. They're probably, like, around Bay Ridge. And most of them are, like, more in the Bronx. And there's not a lot of Serbians, but they're people from Montenegro, right? Montenegrin and Serbian are essentially the same language, but if you tell that to a Montenegrin, they're going to be very, very angry at you. So, choose your words carefully when you decide to repeat this little bit of information that I've given you. So, anyway, I went to a place in Sheepshead Bay. It was cool. This woman comes out of the elevator. She had like some very, very thin dress on, right? And she kept smiling at me. I said, hello, how are you? Where's the super? She's like, oh, the super is going to be down that hallway. It's just to the right. He's the first door. Just give it a knock and he should come out. I was like, okay, thank you very much. She's like, you're very welcome, right? She's being very, very kind. And she was very, very close to me. So I just wanted to sort of remove myself from the situation. Just because it was, it was like a day or two after the situation, the other situation that I had. And I was just in a complete whirlwind of emotions, but keeping it, normal, right? So I was, I knocked on the door. I was waiting for the super to come out. The woman is still there. I think she was looking through the mail because the mail was right to the right of me. And she was just looking through it. I guess she was trying to find a package. So the door opens. I think it was some younger person. So I assumed that it was his son, assumed correctly, the super son. So he was like, yeah, I'm his son. I'll give him a call. I'll have him come down. I was like, okay, thank you very much. Because I was going at that time from place to place, trying to get in contact with the super because the super would know if there are available apartments built in those buildings that they are superintendents for. So it's a very toiling strategy, but it beats paying a broker's fee, which I ended up paying for this place anyway, which is neither here or there. But anyway, the woman is still there, right? I guess there was only a few packages on the ground, but she was just still lingering around. And so the elevator opens all the way to past the mailbox. And I see this guy, this tall guy, right? So then a Russian woman then enters, an older woman, right? Then enters the building. So it's like four of us inside the lobby currently. And the guy is like, oh, are you looking for me? Hello, I am, I'm this guy, Petrovic. And I was like, oh, Petrovic, Serbski, right? Because I was like, yo, that's a Serbian last name, right? He's like, da, I could speak Montenegrin, but it's essentially the same language. You've been to Serbia? He's like, you've been to Montenegro? I was like, yeah, I was over there. We had a long conversation. I was getting excited. The woman, by the way, I was looking for her messages, her boxes. She just stopped. She was just there looking at me and listening to the conversation with a huge smile. We had the older Russian woman just standing there smiling. Right. I was like, yeah, I was just in your place, man. It was fun. It was cool. I went to Podgorica. It was really cool. I wanted to go to Kotor. I was just talking about my travels over there. And he was like, that's great. You don't hear a lot of Americans going over there. It's so great to hear that you visited my country. But Montenegrin is different than Serbian. You have to understand this. I was like, yeah, I understand. So he's like, oh, I hear you're looking for apartments. So he's like, let me show you. Let me just go down. So he goes down the mailbox, go down past the mailbox, I guess, in the direction of his apartment. And so the woman is like, the woman that was looking through the packages, she comes up close again. She's like, I really hope you get an apartment here. There's some. It is a nice place, and we are nice people, right? And then I was like, oh, thank you very much. She's like, you're welcome. And she just kept smiling. It was nuts. She must have been like in her mid-30s or something. So she goes in the elevator. Then the older Russian woman is like, do you want a candy? And I was like, I'm not going to refuse, a gift, right? So I was just like, I'll take the candy. Because even though I don't eat candy. I was like, thank you very much. She's like, it's very good. It's not too sweet. I was like, oh, okay, thank you very much. And she was like, I said, увидимся в позже, девушка, right? I'll see you later, dear, right? And she's like, you speak Russian too? I was like, I'm just practicing. She's like, your accent is very good. Blah, blah, blah. I really hope I could see you again. And, she just goes in the elevator. She waits by the door because I think the woman already went out. But I already felt a huge connection to this place because I'm like, these people are very kind. They're very nice and open. I thought that was going to be it. But he shows me this studio apartment, and it ended up being super crappy. It was like for $1,100 a month. It was a good price, and it was in a good neighborhood. But it was just a crappy place. Seriously, like everything was messed up. I was so enamored by the experiences that I just had in that lobby that I was willing to take some of my own money, because the super was saying that the landlord basically deserted this place because he's going to be pouring all this money into this place just to rent it for a very low amount, and he said it wasn't worth it. And I thought that was pretty negligent, but I was willing to put a lot of my own money to fix the place just to be around that, because I'm like, is this what I'm going to be experiencing? But it didn't end up unfolding. I ended up calling a number to get recommended this place, and this happened. So this neighborhood, very, very different from the place with the Eastern Europeans. It's a lot of it's interesting, a lot of unregulated emotions, a lot of passion, a lot of pride, and a lot of short-sightedness, which, hey, listen, it's not you get what you paid for, because I'm paying a good price for this. It's a solid price. And the neighborhood is good. The amenities are very, very good. But this is, it's a complete stark contrast. I didn't get a very warm welcome like I did. The super is nice because Eastern European. He's from Turkey. Well, Middle East, right? Is in the liminal space, right? He's from Turkey, and it was only because I knew, how to speak a little bit of Turkish with him, which is why he fought tooth and nail for me to even get this apartment, by the way, which is amazing. But it's the neighbors are not as warm as the Eastern European counterparts, right? So it's all right. It's all good. But I think things change. I think things, I have to give things time to grow, just like Serbia. I went into Serbia. I remember after the first day, I'm like, I don't like this place. I think I made a mistake. And then a week and change later, I'm just like, can I just stay here? Can I just remain here for the rest of my life? Serbia is so great. So you just got to take time. Things have to marinate. Things have to settle, and so on and so forth. But anyway, that is plans for the channel. We're going to do more live streams, of course. We're going to do more uploading of videos. We're going to do more chatting. We're going to do more interviews. And, of course, a lot more content is going to be going onto the Patreon. So go to the Patreon, please, and check that out. Link is going to be in the description below on this video. So check this out. This video has ran too long because this last month was just deep. It was just a super peak, deep, emotionally deep month for me. I learned a lot. And the situation couldn't have gone any other way to propel this growth or to initiate this growth period. I feel, just to sum things up, I feel like I'm in a place right now where it's completely unfamiliar. Literally with this neighborhood, and figuratively and metaphorically or internally, because a lot of the thoughts of comfort that I used to rely on don't exist. A lot of what I believe about what the future brings, that's not true. It's not real, and it's not certain. And it's only me, solo yo, solo sombra. So the only thing right now that's carrying me, as Scarface puts it, are my you know what, and my word. You guys got to watch the movie. And of course, this inner sombra that is heavily invested, working overtime to provide visions, dreams, energy, and motivation, and the power of persistence for me to triumph over everything. So thank you, inner sombra. And with that being said, that is all for this month's Pisos, perceptions, the Pisos. Yeah, man. Don't ever let this place get you down. I'm so serious. Don't ever let this place get you down. This place, the design of this place, the mere events that happen in this liminal space, by the way, because this is a transit point between where we were and where we need to be, right? And all these events that happen within, I'm hoping and praying, right, that it's supposed to get us prepared for what is to come, right, for us all. And with that being said, there's a lot of events and things that are going to happen to us that are going to shake us up. We could be grown on, or we could be raised on a belief, especially with a lot of us guys on the internet trying to look for guidance, trying to look for truth. And we fall into a lot of these spaces that get led by people that give us cure-alls to an issue, right? Where the issue, to tackle the issue, the cure is tenfold past the amount of the issue. You need to do a lot of self-work. We need to do a lot of self-reflection, and we need to understand that rigidity of thought are going to imprison us all and keep us very, very not misaligned with what needs to be done. And when we get older and we are presented with a cataclysmic situation that we were supposed to have already been prepared for, if in the past, if we let go of our rigidity, that's going to shake up your entire world, and you're going to be at a point perhaps where you can't really recover to return to the person that you once was. Of course, there's a shining, beautiful, positive, evolved self that can be achieved through that catastrophic event. But people seldom take that route, as I referenced before. People become jaded, people become angry, people become vengeful, and against people that are innocent, that are completely isolate from the person that caused you the pain in the first place. And so I'm telling you this, do not be rigid, be flexible, be open, and understand your truths. Understand what objective truth is. Go to it, seize it with your bare hands, your fingers, until they're bleeding and cracked, right? And then drink from that spring, that wellspring, and be forever, everlasting in being flexible. Seriously, that's really what it is. And of course, stay radiant. I'm going to see you guys in the next Pisos Perceptions. Woo!